So
Okay.
what is... Oh. All right, that's perfectly interrupted. All right. So what is up, everybody? With me is Ornlu in Empire Wars Duo 2 Qualifiers, Dark Empire versus Los Marginados, Capoch+LaN. Probably a matchup that the Spanish community would love to see. These two players, Capoch+LaN, actually played in two pools, and they had a pretty underwhelming performance there, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. I'll have to double check, but I remember that Capoch left his clan shortly after, like he was in... I don't even remember the clan's name anymore, but...
Immortals?
Was it Immortals? Yeah,
I
it
think
may have
so.
been. Nonetheless, now Capoch+LaN coming in here, they are the favorites, but we talked about Empire Wars potentially being punishing, and with some good strategies or preparation, maybe Spring, Adam, and Dragonstar can surprise them. Spring and Adam from the US, so I guess this is as close as it gets to a US pro team, and Dragonstar joining from India. We will jump into the first game right now. So, whenever you're ready, let's go.
I'm
3,
ready.
2, 1, go. Alright, so we are gonna have Capoch on the right side in green as Chinese. We will have LaN as Franks in blue, so very standard Chinese and Franks combo. Whereas on the other side, Dragonstar in red Mayans and the yellow Huns for Spring. How do you feel about these?
Well, it's Spring. He's going to be playing Huns. It all checks out. I do know all of the guys on Dark Empires pretty well, and they're a bunch of goofballs. But I do feel like, yeah, the skill level with LaN and Capoch are going to be pretty darn much better. Yeah, it's gonna be kind of rough, I think. But Arabia, it's where all of these players are going to be feeling the most comfortable. So I'm not sure if that's going to help the team that is going to be weaker on paper or hurt them.
Looks like Spring is coming in here with a scout to try and get some damage done on Capoch at the beginning. As we have a couple of peaceful moments, this is the time to talk about Chinese and Empire Wars, because they are not getting their extra villagers, yet they are still extensively used in 2v2, just because they are still an amazing civilization.
Yeah, I mean, they're just good in general. They're probably a little overrated just because players are so used to Chinese being powerful in regular RM, especially if you consider like the new Arabia version, which it doesn't seem like this Empire Wars Duo version of Arabia is based on the new Arabia.
Nope.
It seems like it's
the old
more
one.
of the old one.
In
okay,
fact,
yeah.
We're playing the old patch, so obviously.
Oh, yeah, that's true. So, yeah, Chinese, but they still have the tech discount, they still have their farm bonus, and even with Franks, you get the free horse collar and the extra food on your farm. So there's a nice little bit of synergy there. And when it comes to, like, being an archer civ, yes, I do like Mayans a little bit more, but it's not such a drastic difference that, you know, skill is still going to be way more important.
And it looks like Dragonstar is going to get a villager kill here from LaN, coming in with 2 spearmen, an archer, and an eagle. That's one of the advantages you get here as Mayans. You get that eagle as well, which is very helpful at poking down villagers. And it looks like the spear and archers will cause some problems here for LaN, because Capoch is nowhere to be found with his archers just yet.
Well, that's always why I suggest in 2v2s to go for the guy making cavalry, because as we saw in game number 1 in the last set, if the archer guy is out of position and the cav guy is attacked, it takes around a year and a half to actually get to your teammate's base. But here we go. Scout's going to be converging on the random units of Dragonstar. They got +1 around halfway through the fight, but with the reinforcements from Spring, it's going to be LaN forced away.
Yeah, LaN also had to start making a tower, but he's gonna have to delete it at like 20% because otherwise it goes down. And it looks like Spring and Dragonstars are the players putting up the pressure over here so far. Faster working Hunnic stable probably helps quite a bit here with the scout production.
Definitely the case, although there are no upgrades on these scouts. A few archers from Capoch incoming alongside LaN scouts. And to be fair, despite being pushed off of forage bushes and gold miners, it's not the end of the world. LaN can still get his farm eco up and running. Ooh, even the TC getting a little bit of damage in right there. And I think with the better upgraded units, we should be able to have our Spanish-speaking team clean up.
They will. Indeed. The question is, was it worth it for Spring and Dragonstar. Because they did manage to kill a couple of villagers here from LaN and also idled some more. It looks like they also managed to clean up the scouts, more or less.
Yeah, seems like it. But I would say that no, it wasn't worth it, because this is going to be all about momentum and just being able to hit important timings, being able to snowball greater army numbers, and we can see that, actually, no, the army numbers are in favor of Dark Empire. It's kind of surprising, but the Castle Age time is still going to be better for Capoch. And yeah, we'll have to see how this progresses forward.
So, as we are looking into this one, it looks like the first two players to click up will be the Archer players, but it looks like LaN has been set back food eco-wise a little bit as well. The berries were abandoned, and with Franks that hurts quite badly. That's probably the reason why Spring will beat him to Castle Age a little bit. And it looks like those Archers are also very heavily mispositioned now.
Oh yeah, you do not want to be losing your Archers, especially right before hitting Castle Age, but no. Looks like the scouts are going to be forced away for the time being. They still don't have any upgrades, so they can't feel super comfortable in taking on archers that have +1/+1. Yeah, we just now have Spring clicking up to the Castle Age, which will leave LaN the last one to click up. He's just about there, but not quite, and this is honestly not at all bad here for Dark Empire.
Exactly. Idle time will be there on that gold mine as well. This hurts really badly for LaN because he's gonna need a ton of gold at the beginning of Castle Age. So, in fact, he doesn't even have the scouts right now to clean that one up, and this is more and more alarming right now for LaN, especially with Spring having +1 defense come in.
Yeah, the scouts are only going to get more and more upgraded. Nice little bit of dancing here from LaN's scouts, just trying to make sure his tower is getting as much in as possible. But now Dragonstar is in Castle Age. He's going to be getting crossbowmen soon. He's already killing villagers on LaN's wood line. This is actually spiraling out of control really fast in favor of our... I can't say Dark Empire with the straight voice. Like, oh, okay, that's just a normal sounding team name.
Yeah, now crossbows are about to hit Spring over here. So he's going to have a bit of a tough time holding this one, especially because guess what? He can't just house wall. But... he's gonna go triple stable knight, so they don't want to play a long game, they just want to finish it off right now. If he's given just a little bit more time, he will be fine with the knights, but there is gonna be some heated moments here.
Indeed, there will be. Also, only +1 defense gonna be... and Bloodlines in for the cavalry. Third stable not able to be completed. Huns have the faster production, which is nice. And the tower is actually very nicely positioned here for Spring. And just the general base layout is actually pretty nice as well. Going to be forcing away the crossbowman for the time being, and that's going to be really important. But behind all of this, Capoch is just chilling, man. He hasn't really been attacked at all. He's adding in his third town center. And although LaN's kind of been a punching bag so far, Capoch is going to be in a really good spot.
Yeah, that is absolutely true. Though, we have to keep in mind that if they start double-teaming Capoch, LaN might struggle to help out, because you see that he's having trouble with the gold income right now. Like, he's floating so much food, that's because he can't just spend all of it, because he had to spend all his villagers to food, as he didn't have access to gold.
Well, he's got the double mining camp set up on his main gold. He does have 3 stables for those knights. But, oh, big fight incoming here. We are looking at ballistics versus no ballistics. Again, this is just another case of that, a more aggressive tilt for Dragonstar and Spring. And that is going to be a ton of crossbows getting picked off, and that's not something that Capoch can afford right now.
Exactly, and now the crossbows will be heading towards LaN. And while LaN has his knights helping out those crossbows, the scouts from Spring are coming in to harass that gold mine once again. 10 knights versus 6 only. Crossbow numbers are also better, and this is maybe the prime time to hit LaN's gold mine.
Yeah, some honestly really sloppy control from LaN, losing several units for free. Now he's going to get even more knights picked off by just this massive crossbowman. And when you look at it, it's sure there's a little bit of an overall villager lead for Capoch and LaN, but the army is just so much better. And when both teams are doing the exact same thing, but the team that has more is also attacking, it feels like this is actually GG.
Yeah, it might be. Capoch is on 3 TCs and he's gonna have a strong economy, but his teammate might just die here because those knights can soon run past the TC, and look at crossbows coming from the left already from Dragonstar. He's going to hit the back of those wood lines. They're absolutely annihilating LaN here.
Oh yeah, LaN is just getting absolutely smacked around. And really, this is just what happens in especially Empire Wars 2v2. If you have especially your cavalry player quite exposed, not able to wall themselves in, then you're just going to get 2v1'd, and it's really hard for your archer ally to ever protect you.
And talk about an upset, because here I think if you ask anybody in the community, they probably would have said Capoch+LaN 3-0 as prediction, right? So, so far this is a surprise over here. And you see LaN is trying to recover here, and the villager count is still in the favor of Capoch and LaN here, but the problem is that LaN has taken a severe beating, and look at the Dragonstar's resources.
Oh yeah, just Mayan things. He's a little bit housed right now, which is kind of awkward, but he'll be getting up to Imperial Age before too long. His archers are just so cheap. And as we've been seeing throughout the past, like, I don't know, year and a half, 2v2s are increasingly about that archer player. Just getting that gigantic mass of archers that no amount of cavalry can ever deal with. LaN getting even more villagers picked off. What could have been the saving grace potentially for Capoch and LaN is that maybe Capoch could get a quick Imperial Age with his better economy, but that's just not the case. He's still just churning out tons of villagers. He's getting Thumb Ring, and like that's great and all, but they could just die.
Yeah. And at this point, LaN barely has any operational economy, so now the food is the problem. He doesn't have wood income. He's got 60 wood, so reseeding those farms is next to impossible. And I feel like in 2.5 minutes, if Capoch can't do any damage to Spring here, we could see those Mayan orbs just snowballing the game over here really fast.
Certainly, but it has to be said, although Capoch isn't going to be hitting Imperial Age anytime soon, his archer production has been pretty much constant, and the military numbers are dead even right now, so until that Imperial Age timing happens, there's going to be a window where Capoch and LaN can get a lot done. Their army is coming forward. Actually, armies kind of passing each other a little bit as more knights run into the base of poor LaN here.
Yeah,
man, they have to get so much done.
Yeah, I like what Spring is doing here. He's raiding LaN, and I think his other group of knights should be sent to Capoch's base, because Capoch doesn't have any defense back at home. Yeah, sure, Dragonstar might take a beating here from those crossbows, but if you can damage Capoch's eco here, that might just be enough to finish the game. I mean, it's actually bad that they just keep killing LaN, because LaN is already half dead.
Yeah,
that's
the
the
thing
MTC.
is, it's going to be hard to with a small group of knights to deal.
Only the MTC for Dragonstar! Why are you using that town center for imping? Unbelievable. This could lose them the game here. Why would you ever use that town center for imp? Why? That's the MTC going down.
Well, this is the one that's furthest back, but yeah, that's kind of painful. At least Dragonstar realizes it right away. But on the other side, we're having knights right-clicking town centers, and LaN is at a whopping, 28 villagers? So it's kind of like a base trade scenario. But my worry is that we're having our green player, Capoch, get in just such a comfortable position. He's never been attacked. And to be fair, it's kind of hard to attack him because he's fully walled and has archers. But he's going to be getting in pretty soon, and that's a sort of situation where you can start to 1v2 things.
Yeah, now it's going to be crossbow fight. I don't think that Dragonstar is stumbling over here, but even if he does, this is at best an even trade for him, and his eco is much worse than Capoch's one, so that's a win for Capoch. On the other hand, Capoch has 0 mobility, so this is a time where Spring just needs to raid him to death here, basically.
But how are you going to be able to do that when he's fully walled with knights that can't, deal with quick walling easily, and there's going to be 5 ranges worth of crossbowmen production? I don't really see that being possible, and right now Dragonstar is just completely getting wrecked.
Yeah, Dragonstar still has some crossbows left, but Capoch 35 crossbows, soon to be orbs. Here come the knights.
Yeah, but see what I mean? It's so hard to actually attack a knight player or a crossbow player as the knight guy, because you can just get into all these really strong defensive positions. Tons of archer production at home, and yeah, Capoch is totally fine.
And we didn't have Dragonstar with Thumb Ring in that fight that he took, so that was a very inefficient fight. At the end of the day, Dark Empire is still leading, so I think the key thing here now is to pin Capoch within his base, because he wants to move out with those orbs, and the more we progress into the game, the higher the chance of an overchop or just an open base. So you might have a chance to just keep raiding him, and try to force him to stay inside while Dragonstar sort of recovers.
Well, just as you said that, Capoch did end up overchopping, but realized it in time, was able to get the wall in. But you are right, now that Imp is in, Arbs as well. But you have to be careful, because if you throw too many units at attacking right now, you could just get Capoch to like 70 crossbowmen, soon to be arbalests, and then you can't do anything. But oh no, the villager's not there in time. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter.
Yeah. We have a couple of knights here from LaN, but oh, LaN even gets trapped inside the base of Spring. LaN might go defeated here. Like,
well, is that a bustling 27 pop?
And I mean, his TC is wide open for those knights to destroy. So I think it's just a matter of finding that TC here, and LaN could easily get completely defeated.
Well, thankfully, they don't have the Frank team bonus for that extra knight line of sight. But still, it's... Oh no!
They're gonna find it. They're gonna find it.
Oh, they totally are. Oh!
LaN is running
the
again.
Arbs find it. The Arbs find it from Dragonstar.
Yeah. And
yeah, and LaN is somebody who's used to being, you know, nearly defeated in team games. He was the guy that had one villager at 5 HP in the OVNC finals. I forgot.
Now the knights are inside, and you see that Capoch has to be everywhere here. He is going to struggle with wood control, and now it's 55 Arbs against 55, so Capoch no longer just has the Arbs to hold, because at this point, Dragonstar will be happy to trade evenly.
Oh yeah, because he just knows that his teammate's in a way stronger position than Capoch's teammate. And this is just another case of one guy being just a little too dead to make a comeback happen. That rewall attempt has now been broken. Knights flooding into the base here of Capoch. He has doubled the villager count of Dragonstar, but it just doesn't matter.
Yeah, but LaN on the other hand is at 16 vills, and the Arbalests are picking apart the rest. And once again, mobility is what is missing here for Capoch. Even if he destroys this army at this point, he's losing so much economy. And behind this one, Spring has a pretty decent eco, Dragonstar has a pretty decent eco.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those situations where if the armies of, you know, either team fought, the army of Capoch actually probably kills everything, but we're just never getting into that situation. And it's just really smart from Spring and Dragonstar to just always focus on attacking, fighting around your opponent's army, and just really utilizing the mobility that you have when you have a Cav player that's in a way stronger position than your opponent.
Looks like the armies will be able to escape here, as Capoch is just forced to chase, but replenishing his army is going to be next to impossible now for him. Horse color better late than never for Dragonstar.
He's Mayans. He only needs like 5 farms anyway.
LaN is at 18 villagers, majestic 20 population, and honestly those knights could jump those TCs. I feel like they just don't want to because they are more focused on destroying Capoch. 40 knights coming in here. I think Spring could even stop making knights and just go into Imp, so he can get +4 defense.
And that's exactly what he's doing. Clicking Imp right now. Random knight dancing back and forth. Going to be able to right-click TCs pretty soon. Arbs are harassing all of these villagers from Capoch, and we're going to have a really big upset here in game number 1.
It's an enormous upset, especially because the thing is, as we have Capoch's Arbs absolutely annihilating Dragonstar's forces. On the right side, I think Capoch and LaN were the massive favorites in this one, but Spring and Dragonstar are saying not yet.
Indeed, and these are definitely guys who know Empire Wars, like that they enjoy the game mode a lot. So it makes sense that they might end up playing it more. Capoch is also actually really good at Empire Wars, although not quite qualifying for Red Bull. And then LaN also, I think, wasn't quite able to qualify, so maybe it's also partly the game mode. But this is really interesting that even on Arabia, you know, your most basic map, you'd think that's where the skill difference would matter the most, but really nicely done so far from Dragonstar and Spring.
Exactly. Beitu, thank you so much for Prime Sub. I appreciate it, and that's not gonna be a castle that goes up. If Spring gets to Imperial, all hope is lost for Capoch, because his Arbs destroy Knights, but they don't destroy Cavalier, and Capoch will have no trouble getting Cavalier. Or, well, not
Spring.
Capoch. Yeah, Spring, exactly.
Capoch, I mean, like, he can get Cavalier. I mean, he's Chinese, you know, they got good Cavalier. Just don't really see that being a logical way for this game to end.
Yeah, it looks like those Arbs are just heading straight towards Spring's base, but Honestly, it might even be worth for Spring to just run Veils at this point. He needs to tank out like a minute or so game time.
Yeah, he's got enough resources for +4 defense and Cavalier, and that's really all you need at this point. Even Dragonstar has mostly recovered his economy. He's at 91 Vils, 60 military for him, and this game, I mean, it's pretty darn over. Now Horsecolor just coming in for Spring. Okay, it's forgivable for Mayans. For Huns with like 50 farms right now or something, yeah, not so good.
Yeah, exactly. That 45 seconds until Bladeboarding and Cavalier is what we're waiting for. And then this entire army gets cleaned up here from Capoch. And he doesn't even have anywhere to go anyways now. He's losing his gold mine, he's losing his wood lines. And LaN just unable to reboom because those arbs are still pushing him.
Yep. I appreciate that they're... Well, actually, no, LaN is now not being attacked right now, but for the most part, LaN has been constantly harassed. He's never been allowed to get back into this game. We have coinage coming in right now for Dragonstar.
And you delete the blacksmith here, I think. For that surround. Capoch calls the GG, and upset in the making so far.
Indeed, indeed. And there's the GG. Dark Empire takes game number 1.
Yeah, that is a massive surprise here. Especially because it's not like they had a civilization advantage whatsoever. The two civs, or for each side, were pretty even, I would say. It was a matter of LaN dying very, very easily here. Obviously, it's not necessarily his fault, but the way Dragonstar was able to use the spear and archer opening so early probably was the difference, because Capoch was massing archers back at home, Dragonstar went on for the kill, and he just managed to start pushing LaN back so early.
And this is the sort of stuff that we see in 1v1s all the time, right? Where you have your leery armies of like 2 spearmen and like 3 archers with fletching, just attacking your opponent before they really have a whole lot of anything to defend, and just, you know, keep on keeping on. And yeah, just really able to snowball that advantage from there.
Yeah, that is a massive surprise over here, and as I usually say, now all you have to do is just win your home maps, which is easier said than done, but if you actually want to see any games won here by Dark Empire, it has to be their home maps, right?
Indeed, indeed.
So, that means that we have Franks, Huns, what else?
Mayans and
Chinese gone.
Chinese.
Indeed, as Arabia falls into the hand of the Dark Empire. So...
Oh, no, you have to say it, the Dark Empire.
I'm not that good with that, so that's why I get you here. I was hoping that you're gonna say it that way. Alright, so... Los Marginados, Cape of Storms, a pretty open map, or Forest Pond here for them?
After getting kind of wrecked in early game, I'd probably go for Forest Pond first.
Yeah, it is definitely better to calm things down. On the other hand, I feel like, considering Spring, Adam, and Dragonstar are the underdogs, I kind of feel that closed maps might actually suit them more than open maps do. So maybe it's actually better for...
Yeah, but think about who you're talking about. You ever see Spring play Arena?
Nope. And I probably don't even want to. We're going to Cape of Storms, apparently. So, whenever you're ready, we can get going with the next one.
Last time I played against Adam on Arena, I won.
Ouch. Ouch.
Yikes.
Looks like it's gonna be Spring and Dragonstar remaining, though. I'm at 4 seconds and paused.
Oh, I'm at 7 seconds.
Alright. I'll have to get to 7, then.
That's true. Dragonstar is a clown.
Alright.
But he's the only one.
So, let's do a countdown. 3, 2, 1, and go. And I think you'll be more than happy to introduce the teams now.
Well, sure, why not? But for our upset team, our Dark Horse for our Dark Empire, you'll have Dragonstar in the flank, because that's just how this map works, but he'll be the red Portuguese. And in the pocket, in the yellow as the Persians, will be Spring. Dropping the last game, but let's see what they can make happen on their home map. We'll have Japanese for Capoch on the flank, and Malians for LaN in the pocket.
I have mixed feeling about these civs. I kind of feel like Portuguese here is just your spam the archer style civilization with the cheaper gold cost. On the other hand, I like how Persians is being used here. That extra attack against archers could be very helpful. Capoch is gonna go for a dock though with Japanese, so their economy is probably gonna be better, as it looks like LaN wants to go for the hunt here for a moment.
Looks like that is going to be the case. Of course, when you're... Oh, no, LaN! Oh, loses a villager to Dragonstar with that early scout cavalry.
Yeah, at least the dog goes up, but this also means that Spring's team knows about the opponent fishing over here, and they also get the villager kill. Looks like the only player not going for fish is going to be Dragonstar, but it takes some time until the investment into fishing eco pays off, so you might be able to get something done with your archers before that happens.
Yeah, we'll have to see. Also, thank you, Miguel, for the host. But, well, we got Empire Wars Duo 2, Electric Boogaloo. Lots of archers and scouts and Cape of Storm, good hybrid civs. And just some early scuffles going on over here. Nothing too wild, but notably Dark Empire does have a small eco lead. Oh, scouts running in. Might be able to get something done.
That is definitely something. That's one villager killed, and there's 2 more isolated villas that could easily get picked off here. We have some scouts coming in, though, from LaN on the other side, and this time around they will intercept some villas from Dragonstar.
Indeed they will. Those hunters are becoming the hunted, as those scouts will be chasing them down. But both teams are taking some blows when it comes to their flank player. Scout's going to be running into the wood line, although villagers, there are so many of them they could punch them down, but only if they're realizing this. One more lady is going to end up dropping, and this has been a pretty messy game so far, as Dragonstar is also losing even more vills at home.
Exactly. Dragonstar ended up losing 4, killed 1. Spring didn't lose a single vill, and he killed 4, so... And it looks like he's gonna kill another one. That guy is just stuck in there on the wood line. Spring actually had a pretty unlucky lumber camp spawn. He had 3 lumber camps on the same wood line.
Spring?
No, Capoch. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I am completely butchering that. Dragonstar's got some archers looping all the way around, and they could surprise LaN here from the back.
Well, the good news is for LaN that he doesn't have anyone on gold right now to worry about them dying. Checking in on water real quick, we do have, 5 fishing ships for LaN, around 4 for Spring, and those are the only guys on water right now, although we do have a dock foundation, at least, for Capoch.
Capoch actually has a dock as well, but he never made fishing ships. He's just making fire galleys and sending them towards Spring. But
oh yeah,
it takes so much time to get to the opponent over here that I doubt that's going to be very helpful. Spring can make a fire galley and defend against this one, and I feel like the pressure on land in Empire Wars might be more valuable here.
I mean, yeah, it's just so fast-paced that you don't really even have time to get a good fishing eco, as on the land, Spring with his +1 defense scouts with bloodlines, they just pounce right onto the archers of Capoch, and now they're going to be harassing the villagers even more. LaN trying to come in with his own reinforcements, but we're looking at double the army right now for Dark Empires.
And also,
this is looking really bad.
Yeah, this is... Well, it depends on bad for who, right? It's looking great for Spring and Dragonstar, bad for Capoch and LaN here, because the thing is that it's one thing that the army is double. The upgrades were also better, so Bloodlines and +1 defense were already in, and it looks like a defensive tower will also be forced from Capoch.
Well, yeah, archers are going to go down easily, and Capoch has just constantly been having his archer numbers whittled down, and it's like 16 archers versus 1. Like, how are you supposed to come back in archer numbers unless you're able to see LaN get like a massive surround? He does have Bloodlines and +1 defense on his own scouts, and the tower is going to help out a lot in this fight, and those archers are probably going to go down eventually, but still, this is a pretty painful situation here for Capoch and LaN.
Exactly. Villager count is still pretty close, but when you invest so much into army, your castle age is quite a bit delayed, especially for LaN if you look at it, whereas for Dark Empire, both of those players are now getting ready to click into castle, and it looks like now LaN's wood line is going to be hit by archers.
Oh yeah, that's gonna hurt. Notably on the other side, like a couple fire galleys were able to kill all of Spring's fishing ships, and he just kind of wasn't paying attention, so that's a bit awkward. But still, it's, as you're saying, this is all about the land on this map in Empire Wars. Archers being able to find a nice little nook here and getting a pretty decent trade against the scouts.
Yeah, they are. And at this point, that castle age timing for both players and the fact that Dragonstar's at 20 archers and Capoch is at 3 is all pretty disturbing for Los Marginados here.
You know what that means, by the way? Because I don't.
Well, that means that we're gonna have crossbows soon in quite large quantities. And we're also gonna have knights from Spring. Knights that do extra damage against the non-existing archers of Capoch.
Thank you, Fran Argento. I meant I didn't know what the name Los Marginados meant in Spanish.
Ah! It means the outcasts.
Yeah, that's what I'm seeing from your chat. Ellie Archer, Los Marginados equals we're gonna have crossbows soon. The more you learn. Well, yeah, I mean, this is, it's just pretty rough right now here for the outcasts.
Yeah. Truth being told, previous game, it was LaN who suffered from the massive destruction. Now it's Capoch, although those archers might get surrounded. Nice choke point there for Dragonstar to take that fight. Not necessarily the best fight ever, but it's good enough for the circumstances.
I mean, I don't like the idea of losing a bunch of archers before you hit Castle Age, but it probably doesn't matter that much. I like how Spring literally made 2 docks and just made 0 investment in water. This guy, man.
Yeah, it's not Arabia Han Wars, so don't blame him for it. You see how aggressive Spring went. Like, he didn't even get double backs. He has gotten Horse Color, so he's one of those people. And now he's going for 4 stable knights. He's gonna have +2 defense. I don't think that LaN and Capoch can stop this. Those knights will just steamroll everything now.
Well, we do have Capoch in Castle Age. He can go for either some monks or some Japanese pikemen maybe to help defend. But there's... In this version of Cape of Storms, it seems like the little baobab area where you have all the holes seems larger than in other versions. Was that intentional?
I don't think so.
I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but it seems like it's just going to be so difficult to wall.
There is a slight change because this one is devised from the Empire Wars Duo 1 Cape of Storms, whereas the Two Poles one had some slight changes. Nothing major, but maybe that's why it kind of feels a little bit different, because it's not directly converted from the Two Poles Cape of Storms, it's actually from Empire Wars Duo 1.
Okie dokie. I will take your word for it. But Spring coming in with plenty of knights. LaN still a minute away from Castle Age. Granted, Capoch's team is a little bit further ahead when it comes to economy, but just being down so far ahead, being down so far in terms of military, it's just not something you can recover from, especially on a very aggressive map like this one, as LaN is just getting absolutely clapped.
Exactly. LaN has a decent fishing eco going behind this one, so that's why the villager count is still dead even, but, I mean... Fishing eco will become more and more inefficient over time, and you just won't be able to protect your land eco against that many knights. We're talking about 18 knights versus 0, so same thing as previous games, Spring is just gonna tear apart your economy.
Well, the thing is that if you're both making knights, and one guy is just, you know, super far behind in knights, you're never going to come back just by making knights. So you'd have to go for, like, camels or something, and indeed that's what LaN is going to try and go for. But is Capoch really at a position where he can have enough archers to deal with Dragonstar's archers? No, he's not. It's just way too far gone.
Yeah, it is. And Thumbring coming in here for Dragonstar as well. There's also 2 TCs for Spring, so sure enough, his economy on water isn't that good. Well, he doesn't have any, but...
What water economy?
But he's gonna be on multiple TCs, so the water is going to start mattering less and less in this one.
Yep, he even has a 3rd TC on the way down to the south, kind of forward, which is kind of interesting, but that's kind of the area in which you're attacking, so it's actually, I guess, a little bit safer in that sense. But regardless, I mean, Capoch might hang on for a little bit, but okay, man, these crossbowmen coming, this has to be the nail in the coffin, because now the villagers have to delete the houses to run away. They are all going to be absolutely butchered, and this is pretty darn over.
Yeah, Capoch once again is close to imping, so He might actually try to hope for a 1v2 here, but I just don't think it's happening. It's gonna be the same exact situation as the previous game.
He does have a ton of Japanese fishing ships, which is pretty nice for him, but to what end? It's not like he's even ahead in crossbow numbers. There's a forward siege workshop coming in from Dragonstar, and there are just so many knights running around everywhere that... How do you even come back from this?
I don't think you do. Especially the problem is that now Dragonstar could think about skirms, because there is only camos here, so... And to be honest, LAN's economy isn't really suitable for mass-producing those either, so you're basically just fighting archers, so... Oh, the zebra!
Oh,
no.
What did that guy ever do to you?
No!
Jerk!
The zebra feels bad. Now Dragonstar just mangoing down the knights of his teammate, so... But a couple of misclicks here for our red player.
Classic lead-core teammate move.
Yeah. As Imperial is coming in here for Capoch, but those mangonels will help quite a bit cleaning up those crossbows. That could be a big hit if that mangonel gets into range.
Oh. Crossbows are moving back as needed, and the camels are going to be taking an okay-ish fight, but it's just not going to be enough.
Yeah, it's
the
just
numbers are
enough.
way too far gone.
And, like, Capoch still has a bunch of crossbows here, but he won't actually have the economy to upgrade them to anything. He's down to 35 vills. Most of them are actually just fishing ships and crossbows coming from the back as well to surround those. This game is over, and we were surprised after the first game, but this is a shock.
Yeah. I really have to give a lot of credit to the coordination of Dragonstar and Spring. Like, these guys are doing a beautiful job of taking fights together. Like, they just seem to always have their armies together where they need to be, when they need to be there. And they're using that to just really hammer Capoch+LaN before they can get into any sort of comfortable position.
Exactly, they're playing very aggressive, much more aggressive than their opponents. And that is showing here. And when you said at the beginning of the set that, you know, you're afraid that this could be sort of one-sided set.
I'm still afraid of that, just in the other direction.
It's so one-sided indeed, but no one expected this to be one-sided for Dark Empire.
Yeah, like, they clearly are well prepared. Much more so than Capoch+LaN.
Is it just preparation, or is it team coordination maybe as well? Because I feel like...
It's those two things together, I think.
I think it's just about the way they approach the game. Dark Empire likes to play very aggressively here, whereas Capoch+LaN seem to play a lot slower, and they're getting punished for that.
Well, these are two very aggressive maps, which lends itself to that style. So we'll see what they can get done on Forest Pond, where things are maybe a little bit more defensible. But even still, this has just been so dominant from Dark Empires.
Yeah, and they're one game away from qualifying. They would definitely be the surprise team of the tournament if they would qualify over here. And as you said, it's gonna be Forest Pond. So, what are we thinking here in regards of civilizations? Italians and maybe Khmer? Because you need a cavalry civ here, and I kind of feel like Italians is probably a good choice in case the game goes late game.
Well, I'm pretty sure they're gonna have Italians. And beyond that, you can probably do whatever. You can maybe go Berbers, maybe go Khmer. I think for Dark Empire, Spanish and Korean seems like a really obvious duo.
Yeah, probably. Spanish and Koreans over here. I'm paused at 4 seconds, so whenever you're ready, we can get going with the next game over here. Dark Empire, one game away from qualifying. So far, Adam has not played. And in this game, we're also going to have Spring and Dragonstar.
Yep. I'm at 4 seconds as well.
All right. Let's do a countdown with 3, 2, 1, and go. And you're gonna introduce the teams over here, I believe.
Sure. Well, one game away from an incredibly huge upset. We'll have Dragonstar here in the red for Dark Empire. Yeah, Northwest, red, Saracens, all that stuff. And then Spring will be the yellow Spanish to the southwest. and their opponents on the verge of not qualifying for Empire Wars Duo. We'll have Capoch in the green as the Italians to the south, and to the northeast in the blue as the Khmer will be LaN. They're going to need to have something a bit different here. They're going to need to either play more aggressively themselves or just defend better.
Thank you so much for the resub, No Tumbling, and the Gators. Welcome back, everybody.
Because they really haven't been able to hold on whatsoever. Again, that's partly due to the map. It's partly due to the game mode. I just feel like the more aggressive style is better in Empire Wars.
Probably. And we're going to see some aggressiveness coming in here from the Saracens. That's the good old-fashioned market abuse. Looks like a couple of those fast-firing Saracen galleys, but I wouldn't be surprised to see sort of a Saracen crossbowman push here, like you would do on Hideout.
Yeah, I mean, the Saracen... Oh, man, I feel like all the time I play Empire Wars, I like playing Saracens and just going fast castle crossbowman and then, like, killing my opponent in 4 minutes. I feel like it's just so strong and so hard to deal with.
Yeah.
Especially if you have your opponent, in this case LaN, investing a lot into water. That said, LaN is only making 1 dock worth of units right now. Dragonstar is going with a double dock, single dock from Spring, and a single dock here from Capoch. So there, compared to like the last set, there really isn't anywhere near as much investment into water.
No, absolutely not. As Spring is going to go very heavy on stone. That's 10 wheels being sent to stone, but he sort of started mining stone late. So it's kind of understandable that he's going for that. Also went for a shorefish, which I appreciate.
That's a cute little move right there. But it's okay. Spring, it's not Huns, and it's not just going for, you know, knights and cav archers, so you can't really expect him to really know a build.
Yeah, but we are gonna have Castle coming in from Capoch as well, with the stone mining that he's doing. So the way that he wants to address the Conquistador problem is by going for Genoese crossbow. So that's a reasonable move there. And that leaves LaN with Khmer up top versus Saracens with no range. So looks like Dragonstar is just going to go full fast castle Saracen war galleys.
And that's certainly going to be fine. That's like, it's the water equivalent of going for the fast castle crossbowman play. And I really think that LaN is going to struggle to deal with this, as both of the guys for LaN and Capoch are going to be much slower to castle age. I don't think Spring is going to go forward with the castle just because he doesn't have those villagers forward yet. But even just, you know, chilling at home, going to be making some conquistadors. It still could be quite scary, although I do like the Genbo-centric approach, as you were saying, for Capoch.
I kind of feel like with such an approach of war galleys, you could think about going for a transport ship and just transporting the vills in and dropping that castle inside the opponent's base. Looks like this is going to be a very defensive castle here from water side.
I like it. You know your opponent is going to hopefully win water with those Saracen galleys. And then that should give you the space you need for your conks to be right next to the transport ship that you can just send to run over into your opponent's base. That said, if Capoch also has a defensive castle, then he can go for his own Genoese crossbowmen, and they will be dealing with the conquistadors quite well.
Exactly, and Capoch knows about that castle over there. He also knows that if he wants to push from the outside, that's definitely a possibility. Conquistadors and transports are coming in. So that is the plan. Just transport the conks into the opponent's base. Spring is still mining stones, so technically a second castle isn't impossible either. Just secure a foothold and then push that dagger even deeper.
Well, the gameplay of LaN is going to be forward siege workshop, as well as trying to go for water, but I feel like that's going to be really rough because you're not going to win water if you're also spending resources going forward. But also your forward play is a lot weaker if you're spending all those resources going water, right? So it's like, do one or the other.
And it looks like since Capoch is going for 2 additional TCs, he's not going to have a castle. So those conks might have all the freedom in the world to just run around and kill those gold miners, the lumberjacks. There's a lot to hit here for Spring. It looks like they're waiting for the war galleys to arrive before the transport drops off the conks.
I would just like to point out that Spring has 2 eco units on food, and both of them are fishing ships.
But he has 3 TCs. But he has a market, come on. He can just buy
He also
the
has
food.
no eco upgrades.
Well, what do you expect? Looks like LaN is going to open with the Mangonels over here. Dragonstar has not seen that, so he's gonna get surprised, but he might be able to defend with Redemption Monks.
That is a possibility, but look at this here on water. We have both players making some sort of commitment. It's like a partial commitment here for Capoch, as he isn't currently being raided by conquistadors, but he'll get the castle up eventually. We'll just lose some bills in the process. But look at this. Water is going to be one here for Capoch+LaN. That's going to be a huge win for them.
That is a massive win indeed, especially with the Mangonels coming in from LaN. So now that he destroys the fleet, he can immediately push with the Mangonels and push off Dragonstar from the gold mine.
And, like, what does Dragonstar have behind this? Nothing.
Nothing,
Like,
absolutely nothing.
Literally nothing.
So he's got, like, no eco bonus here with Saracens, and meanwhile for Khmer you don't have to worry about farm positioning. You can have a very, very good food eco with just a couple of farms. And look at that, though. Spring actually camps down the bottom of that castle and denies a lot of farming space and the gold of Capoch.
Yeah, that's definitely a little bit annoying, but once you get a few Genbos out, you should be just fine. Capoch is on 3 TCs, as is Spring. Spring with a little bit of an edge in that regard, but I think the issue is that Dragonstar literally has nothing going for him. His play was to go full water, but because his opponent, they had 2 players go for water as opposed to just the one of Dragonstar, the fast castle war galleys just weren't good enough to overcome the still quite strong castle age times from LaN and Capoch.
Here come the Mangonels Knights will be added as well by LaN. It looks like we're gonna have Spring coming in here to help with conquistadors. Initially he wanted to forward siege workshop on Capoch, but he decided to help his teammate instead. But this is one of those games where Capoch and LaN might be taking over, and it looks like what you said about Spring and Dragonstar not necessarily being the best on closed maps might actually be the case here.
Well, it's also a matter of, if we get into a more standard, quote-unquote, like, macro game, I feel like the individual skill level is just really going to show for LaN and Capoch. Though a couple Saracen galleys getting some nice villager picks. But we currently have 2 TCs already working for LaN. Just now starting the second TC is Dragonstar. And it just feels like they're in such a much more comfortable position with their larger army.
Exactly. I kind of feel like this is one of those maps where you just can't double team one player, or at least it wasn't successful for Spring and Dragonstar, though here come the Conks, and that's -3 Mangonels.
Oh yeah, the Conks, they kill Mangonels quite well. Even sniping the forward villager is really nice. And, well, Conks also kill Knights. Conks kill a lot of things.
Yeah, that's a good thing, I guess, for them. Dragonstar able to find some extra gold. Do you feel like here, if you're Dragonstar, you're going to start thinking about just trying to market your way up to Imp and potentially go for Arben Bombard Cannon?
I think your eco is too bad for that right now. I think you just need to spend some time getting your own eco back up and running and then eventually go to Imp. But I think what you need to do right now is just kind of rely on Dragonstar, or Dragonstar needs to rely on Spring to make some kind of aggression happen, because, well, he's not going to get water back anytime soon because he has no docks, and he doesn't really have the infrastructure for any military. So really, it's just going to be, can Spring sort of 1v2 this until Dragonstar gets back in the game, and that's just going to be so difficult.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. In the long run, the Spanish trade obviously helps quite a bit here for Spring's team, but economically they're a little bit behind right now. And what's even more problematic is that Spanish would prefer to go for paladins, but that's not an option with Genoese crossbows around.
Also, we have 8 fishing ships here for Capoch. Nice use of the Italian fishing ship discount bonus, and it's going to help ensure that he is actually ahead of Spring economically. Spring is just now getting double bit X and horse collar. There you go, my man.
Well, better late than never. Also, he's heavily housed, so part of the reason why he's not actually outbooming Capoch is because he's housed like crazy, and now...
He's not used to having to build those.
Yeah. And now the Genoese crossbows are coming, and Capoch also has a discount on Imperial Age, so there's a chance Capoch might beat Spring to Imp here, although it looks like Spring changed his mind and just wants to go to Imp as it is.
Well, there was another nice little fight here for Spring with his conquistadors, but I feel like they're not really getting anywhere. Like, sure, you can take a nice fight, but you can't get close to the water. You're not actually going to be able to push your opponent, so if both teams just kind of chill, sit back, this is going to be an easy win here for LaN and Capoch.
Yeah, especially because Spring changes his mind and he no longer wants to go to Imp. He just gets handcard Bloodlines. But Capoch will beat him to Imp, and now we have a pretty decisive villager lead, I would say, for Los Marginados.
Indeed they do. Cheaper Imperial Age for Italians only need that 850 food, 680 gold.
Yes. Oh, he's missing the building. Or is he? No, he has
no,
a
he's
castle.
Got a castle.
He was rushing up a monastery, and I wasn't sure why he's doing that. But
probably because he has all of these injured Genoese crossbowmen.
True. That's totally true. He was just rushing it up so rapidly that for a moment I thought, it's like, hey, doesn't he have the buildings? But actually he does with the castle. And Spring is very far from Imp here. And honestly, I think probably the second player to Imp will be LaN at this pace. He's got some fishing eco going for him and obviously Khmer farming eco.
I mean, Dragonstar is going for the 4TC play, so he's catching up economically, for sure. But investing all of those resources into economy means he's not investing it into either army or tech. And that just means you're going to have such a late Imperial Age. Just having some conquistadors is not going to be enough to actually push anything. And the Mangonels, once Imperial Age comes in, once Chemistry comes in, it could be really good for Capoch. Also, I just realized that if this were the new patch, you could just grab Herbal Medicine and just pop those Genbos into the castle, heal them up real quick.
Yeah. Now, the thing is that Dragonstar's base is now open from the back, so Castle Drop is a possibility for LaN. The two players from Los Marginados click up to Imp at the same time. Dragonstar is not close. Spring will click up, but he's gonna have Conks or potentially Paladins. Neither of those work against Gembos, and it looks like Dragonstar wants to go for a very aggressive Castle Drop here, which may actually materialize because LaN bails on that initial castle.
Well, he's going to put this defensive castle on a hill, which is in a very nice spot to help him out. And because he's faster to Imperial Age, he should have zero issues trebbing that down from Dragonstar.
I don't think Dragonstar's castle even is going to go up here. Like, LaN is at 50%.
It's going to go up, it's just probably not in that location.
Yeah, it will go up somewhere. But as you said, this hill is at a very, very nice defensive position here for LaN. He also didn't lose a single vill here to the Conks, so that's another win here for Capoch and LaN.
Even having several conquistadors getting absolutely arrowed down by those castles. Or those castles. Those singular castle.
Imperial Age on the way for Spring over here. He's going for multi-layer stone walls on the right side, so he wants to play a very long game here.
We all knew that Spring was a BF player at heart. Also, freaking Spring gates. Just dropping gates after gates after gates. Oh my god. Gotta love it.
Alright, the War Galleys from LaN are no longer doing much here, but it keeps the back of Dragonstar's base open and just keeps a lot of possibilities available for LaN, potentially to land over there.
Well, Dragonstar loses his TC, but immediately replaces it with a castle, so I mean, I like the idea. But right now we have some fully upgraded Genoese crossbowmen, minus the elite upgrade, but they do have Pavisa. And, well, Trebs are going to be coming on up, and there really isn't a whole heck of a lot Spring can do to stop that.
Exactly. There's the Trebs, there is the Genoese crossbow. That's a pretty nasty force of Gembos. They also have Pavisa, and Elite is just now coming in. Spring looks like he wants to play Onagers here because he's got quite a few Mangonels out. As he's trying to keep that castle alive as long as possible, but as you said, once Bombard Cannons come in for Capoch, those Onagers won't work either.
Yeah, I mean, cheaper Bombard Cannons as Italians, very easy to mix in. And this just feels super over. At least Dragonstar, if he's going to go down, he's going to go down making Mamelukes. And really, you can't fault him for that.
Oh yeah, here come the Mamelukes. But that's going to be a short-lived Mameluke play as the Gembos are now through the walls. I mean, Spring, he still just has Mangonels. Well, the good news is that Genoese crossbows only have 7 range, unlike Arbs. So it's a little bit easier to get the hits in with the Mangonels, but obviously Spring is nowhere close to being able to stop this.
Elite Conquistador on the way as soon as he hits Imperial Age, so he really wants to make this Conquistador play work, but it's just not going to versus all of these Genoese crossbowmen that just deal so much extra damage to them. They fire so much faster.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
there's way more of them.
Exactly, we're talking about 92 army against 24.
No, unless, you know, you have a bajillion Bombard Towers out right now if you're Spring, which is how I would, of course, play this. Yeah, this is looking pretty rough.
Now heavy camo coming in here for Dragonstar, but he just doesn't have the numbers nor the upgrades. Like, he has +1/+1, whereas LaN already has the Cavalier with the defense upgrades in, and the other side is looking even more so grim.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, this game has just kind of been over since, like, early Castle Age, where you had the triple dock galley play not at all working out for Dragonstar, but beyond that, it's just kind of been a very painful death. I mean, granted, Dragonstar is making the thing that kills his opponent's army, but there just isn't enough of them. They're not as well upgraded. It's 135 vills to 122 with Chimera farms. More villagers going to get picked off. I mean, there's just not much left to this game.
Exactly. Nili, thank you so much for the raid. Welcome, all hippo lovers over here. We are sort of witnessing an upset so far. Spring and Dragonstar up 2-0 versus Capoch+LaN. Soon turning into 2-1 though.
Indeed, that will be the case. Spring realizing that he can't go aggressive and he can't play Huns, and, well, what can you do at that point? Genbos, though, will be slaughtering absolutely everything here at Spring's base. And, yeah. Once you get to, like, 53 Genoese crossbowmen, they are really, really hard to counter.
Especially with bombard cannons supporting as well, because Spring was trying to fight them with bombard cannons himself, but obviously staggered formation and stuff like that will decide things. 118 army versus 30, both front lines are falling here. And I think that at this point, Dragonstar and Spring might just need to think about the next game here, which will be on a very open map, because they have two very open home maps.
That's quite true. But yeah, I mean, Spring, he's just losing more. It's 3 military for Spring, trying to switch into elite skirmishers. That feels like it is way too little, way too late. We already have Silk Road in for Capoch. He can quite easily get his own trade up and running. And, yeah. Yikes.
There is a bunch of condos coming on the north as well for LaN, the famous and well-renowned condottiere of Khmer. And this is the time where LaN can actually retaliate for the first game where he just got destroyed entirely.
Oh, yeah. I mean, granted, like, the camels are going to be doing pretty well, but I believe Halberdier is now in, and once the actual transition comes into that, it's going to be pretty good. I mean, granted, like, I have no idea why LaN is taking this fight. He really doesn't need to. But whatever, he's still going to be just fine.
Yeah, especially because his teammate is just snowballing the south. Looks like Spring and Dragonstar are not ready to give up on this yet, but they have no trade whatsoever, whereas their opponents are already trying to set up trade, but they're pop-capped, so they cannot. Well, at least they will be pop-capped soon. 65 Gembos for Capoch here.
Oh yeah, he's just chilling at this point. He's even getting banking to help sling his teammate, just to make sure that transition is complete. The good old 30-plus minute bow saw. Don't even bother with Spring. He definitely doesn't have bow saw.
Yeah. What even would you expect now? The elite skirms might take a good fight here. Some hand cannons joining the party. Probably just wrong hotkeys here for Spring. But he only has fletching on those elite skirms. So I think that tells the whole story.
Yeah, it's kind of rough. I mean, he does have all the defense upgrades, but, I mean, it's just a matter of numbers at this point.
Yeah.
Capoch is now going to build a castle between the two players of Dark Empire. And there's the GG.
Alright, so Los Marginados not going down easily over here. And maybe this is the momentum that they need to swing this back, because the first two games were pretty ugly for them.
They were kind of just bops, right? You know, like they died in effectively 5 to 10 minutes.
Yeah. I kind of feel like the key thing here is that Dragonstar and Spring couldn't double any of these players, and this was like two separate 1v1s, and obviously both Capoch and LaN individually are supposed to be better than Spring and Dragonstar.
Yeah, that's a good point as well, and just the strategy that they had prepared for this map not panning out, but of course it was Los Morginados' home map, and they played it quite well. But now we're going to have to go back to some open maps, as you were saying. And this could be where things get tricky for them, because so far we have not seen them really be competitive on very open aggressive maps.
Exactly. The two remaining maps are... Kawasan is alright, I would say. That can go either way. But Atacama is where things could get problematic. We have Italians now gone for Capoch's team. And also Saracens and the Khmer will be gone now.
Indeed.
Alright, so if you are Spring and Dragonstar, which map do you go for? You go for Atacama or you go for Kawasan?
I would go for Atacama just because it's the more aggressive of the two.
Yeah,
but I don't think it matters that much.
I would have said the same thing here. Do you even consider double scouts, given how much Dark Empire was trying to double their opponents? Like, that could be a possibility here, just trying to finish off one player before the other one has the chance to help.
It would be quite the bold play, but I feel like it's still just safer to play meta, but again, I think it's just it's less a matter of strategy and more a matter of coordination and being able to play around your strengths.
All right, I'm going to be paused at 7 seconds in this one, so whenever you're ready. Are you ready?
Yes.
All right, let's do a countdown. 3, 2, 1, and go. All right. What is going on, everybody? We are visiting Atacama over here. This is the Red Bull Volo version of Atacama. We do have 4 pawns in the corners in case anyone wants to fish, although people will probably be focused on not dying to scouts. We have LaN and Capoch as Bulgarians and Berbers in blue and green. Tatars and Teutons for Dragonstar and Spring over here. How do you feel about these civs?
I feel like we have the alliteration with each team civs. You got the 2 T civs versus the 2 B civs. That's the first thing that came to mind. I think that's very important to consider.
This is the expertise I want to hear from you when I bring you in for a co-cast.
Well, I mean, you were wanting to see, double scout play, but Capoch, I mean, he's going to start off with the Men-at-Arm thing because, I mean, that's what Bulgarians, it's a really big strength of the Civ in Empire Wars. But, I mean, as far as, like, transitioning out of it, we could very well see the double scout play.
Thank you so much for the Prime sub. I appreciate it. LaN is like, sorry, the guy was spamming messages.
Oh.
Lol. Getting disrupted. Now let's talk about Capoch because we have Bulgarians for him and he's moving out for a pond on the right side. That's a big investment early on, and that's probably the reason why he's getting forced off from his gold.
He has nothing at all to defend him. I thought that was his spearman at first, but no, it's actually the spearman of Spring. And again, that very aggressive opening, just coming forward with 2 scouts and a spearman. And not really the cleanest defense we have. On the other side, LaN forced to go to his town center from 1 archer and 1 spearman. That's kind of painful.
This is looking very ugly for Capoch's team. What I don't understand is that Capoch is making no land army. Like, I mean, he actually opened men-at-arms here, but he kept villagers on gold for so long. And while those men-at-arms are definitely somewhat helpful, they really lack mobility here, and you see that the scouts might just be a better value at this point.
Well, the thing with the men-at-arms is that they are really good in a 1v1 scenario when you can just walk up to your opponent super quickly, but in a 2v2, the map size in a 2v2 is larger relative to the player count than a 1v1. So it's further to get to your teammate, and it's going to be more difficult to make this super instant aggression happen. That said, this tower does go up and these men-at-arms are being annoying.
On the other hand, Capoch's berries are being very exposed to Spring's cavalry, and I kind of feel like you didn't really get a lot of value for those men-at-arms, and now you're stuck without army just finishing the stable. You do have +1/+1, that's a positive, whereas not a single upgrade is there for Spring, but his economy now is probably going to be better on land. Capoch planning to add some fish over here.
Even then, this is late, right? I mean, he went for the dock almost instantly, and we are only just now at over 5 minutes going to be seeing our first fishing ship.
Spring so far has killed 2 villagers. Capoch wasn't able to get any kills for his men-at-arms, and that's the 3rd villager going down there from Capoch. Maybe even 4th. Oh my goodness, that's 4.
Yikes. Yikerinos.
LaN comes in for a
but
rescue,
on the other side,
Exactly.
LaN going to be smacking these villagers.
And this is the double scout play I was asking about, because I think here on this map, being able to double someone could be massive, though Dragonstar is a pretty scary force of archers and spearmen coming in here that could deny a lot of resources from LaN.
And Dragonstar, using the market a ton, is still actually pretty far away from Castle Age, so that's a little bit odd. But usually the biggest weakness of going double scouts is that one of the enemies is going to have a ton of archers and is just going to kill you in late feudal age when they have, like, 16 to 20 archers and you only have some scouts to defend. But at this point, the archers aren't really able to attack anything so far. And, well, I mean, Capoch and LaN are hanging in there, although that's actually really bad. Okay, villagers having to try and rush up a tower, but ugh.
Yeah, that's ugly. They were about to go and take the middle for Wood, I believe. And Capoch does have some scouts here to fight this. But obviously this is far from ideal once again for Capoch. And Dragonstar is going into Castle Age here, although he's getting slaughtered by scouts now.
I mean, this is just Atacama, man.
Yeah, this is the problem with going into Castle Age early. You have to sacrifice so many resources, and those are resources that LaN just spent on scouts, and Dragonstar is getting slaughtered here.
Oh my goodness, like, mega turbo slaughtered. These scouts have +1 defense and bloodlines.
No, why did he even take that fight? I have no idea. He's down to 33 vills, and he's trying to get some value for his archers here, but he may have just lost the game here.
It's like the opposite of medal. We just won the tournament. We just lost the game. Oh, yeah. That hurts.
Yeah, and, well, Capoch definitely has been losing vills here. Capoch lost 5 vills in this game. Dragonstar lost 10. So, that is far from ideal. Now, truth being told, LaN now has idle stone miners over here, and when Dragonstar reaches Castle Age, just a couple of cav archers could make this a nightmare for Capoch and LaN, so maybe that power spike could be enough to swing it back to their favor.
Otters are one of the few civs that I think you can really justify going for early Castle Age cav archers, just because the free thumb ring means your cav archers are so much more valuable in lower numbers because of that, extra accuracy, so you're actually able to hit all of your shots. But Bodkin coming in, crossbowman, I'm sure, as soon as he can afford it. More scouts of LaN now running into the base of Spring, and LaN is up on the way to Castle Age. That just leaves Capoch, Mr. Stuck in Feudal Age right now, and see, he is really far away. Actually, no, wait, he just needs a market.
Yeah. Now, looks like LaN is about to start losing villagers here on his wood lines, and that's where things could get heated up. Spring quite heavily beaten by Capoch here, though. Once again, Spring and Dragonstar are faster to Castle Age here, but they're exposed to scouts so heavily. Their eco is, like, nowhere close to the eco of their opponent.
Indeed, that is the case. But still, the weakness of going for, like I said, the double scout play is that just a bunch of archers running in late feudal age is going to be pretty rough. But now there aren't that many archers, soon to be crossbowmen. And, well, Castle Age is only 50 seconds away, so I think that this is okay for LaN and Los Marginados in general, although Capoch is going to lose more bills.
Yeah, that is pretty massive there. Spring, on the other hand, is getting absolutely slaughtered here on his gold mine, and I feel like we are in for a decider game over here. Who would have thought for this set? Because now, if you're
Spring, more like winter at this point.
Oh yeah. Those crossbows are still dealing some damage here by Dragonstar, both on the base of Capoch and LaN, but the villager difference just seems to be too big here.
Yeah, I think that, again, we're in a situation where it's just a little too far gone.
Although Capoch is not in Castle Age, I actually forgot about it. I thought he clicked up. This is maybe the window for Spring, because 3 or 4 knights here could absolutely wreak havoc, and that's exactly what's going to happen.
Well, he's got 3 stables, he's got +2 defense, and he's going to send the knights across. But the thing is, if you send the knights across, you don't actually stabilize whatsoever at home, and so Spring is still going to lose more eco.
Yeah, that's the problem. He should have kept like 2 or 3 knights over here. Obviously, Capoch needs to sort of just pin Spring inside his base because he's getting out-teched. As now it is Capoch also losing quite a few vills. And this forces LaN to go all the way over there to help. Also has to make a couple of camos, and now the crossbows for Dragonstar are about to hit LaN. This may not be that far gone, actually.
Well, I mean, the villager difference is still the same, but the army count is still massively in favor of Dark Empire. And I think it's actually was smart to go forward with the knights because, yes, you don't really stabilize that much more at home, but by the time that the knights would just chase down the scouts, you would lose all of your advantage that you would have anyway. So just send those guys forward when you do have that tech advantage over your opponent, and it's probably going to end up being a little bit better for you, and I think that's pretty good.
Oh boy, look at those crossbows hitting Capoch's wood line, and they were already successful hitting LaN's gold. Look at that villager difference just absolutely melt away, and this is a decider game over here if Capoch and LaN end up losing this, so match point for Dragonstar's team, and now the villager count is as close as it gets.
Again, we're looking at just so much aggression. Yes, LaN and Capoch have been able to get to the other side of the map at several points, but pretty much at no point were they just completely untouched at home. Whereas there have been moments where both Spring and Dragonstar have been able to just, squeeze in Castle Age, and from there just go, all out, more and more pressure, and now there's a huge army advantage, there's a slight villager advantage, and all of the momentum is in favor of Dark Empire.
Oh my goodness. This is such a back and forth game because Spring was down to 29 villas and Capoch was at 42, about to hit Castle Age, but then just this wood line happened.
Yeah, and then running over into the gold mine as well. And for looking at the villager count, each player has somebody at 41 and then somebody at like 31, 32. So really, all of that is even, and it's coming down to just the difference in military, as 2 players making knights means that you are not going to have just that army numbers that you're going to want against all of these crossbowmen.
What's worse is that Capoch has no access to wood. He's about to lose another bunch of vills, and look at that, 0 on wood. He's going to struggle replenishing those farms. I mean, he is going to struggle really mightily when it comes to producing any units.
Yeah, that's really, really rough for him. Now, granted, the Knights of LaN are going to probably hunt down these crossbowmen and wipe them out, but that's only going to be, I think, a little bit of a Pyrrhic victory, as, I mean, we're only at 28 villagers for Capoch, and part of those are just fishing ships.
Yeah, that's a bit of a mistake there for Dragonstar. He could have maybe used the hill here with Tatars for a slightly better fight, but look at Capoch just pinging that, hey, I'm getting overrun by Knights here. They're just focusing down Capoch so much. First game, LaN was the one that almost went defeated. Now it's Capoch getting the same treatment.
Yeah, there are some knights here. They have decent upgrades, but of course the knights with Teutons are getting a little bit of extra melee armor, which is pretty helpful. Some more scouts are running into the base of Spring, able to get a couple villagers. And it's not like the eco difference is massively in favor of Spring and Dragonstar. It's mostly just that army count.
No, absolutely. It's actually pretty close. 78 vills versus 70. I think at some point Dragonstar needs to switch into CA here, and that's exactly what he's thinking as well, adding CA now, because this is where they could really exploit their mobility now with their Cav archers.
Oh yeah, I mean, this map is just so open, so having that mobility is very important. At home, LaN doesn't really have a whole lot to defend himself. Way more knights here for Spring. Yeah, there are some camels, but there's just so much idle villager time, and that's going to make it even more difficult to come back.
Exactly. The villagers can jump into the towers, but obviously, while they're doing that, LaN has no gold income.
Which makes it... I guess he's still being able to produce knights for the time being, but this is just so rough.
Dave Tom, thank you so much for a Prime sub, welcome. As that's enough knights to jump those towers, and that's exactly what they are doing. And behind this one, Cav archer numbers start to grow as well. This is potentially an okay fight here for LaN, but I think he just doesn't want to take a risk of losing his entire army here. Especially because he doesn't have +2 defense.
On the other side, we have a bunch of knights running in here, able to pick off a few villagers of Spring. And those are villagers that Spring can't really afford to lose.
Yeah. Spring is at 31 villagers, and as dead as Capoch looked like, Spring is just as dead as he is. In fact, maybe even more so.
Yeah, well, the army count is way better for Spring, but he just doesn't really have a whole lot at home. He doesn't have a second town center. I mean, neither does Capoch, but he's not really any less dead economically. It's just he's had a larger army, and he just needs to use it to just bludgeon his opponents, like, right now.
Yeah, I feel like this might be a bit of a situation where Dragonstar needs to carry a bit, but oh boy, Lan's gold miners may be found here, and that would be a jackpot for Spring there.
Oh,
yep.
Knights. Oh, Knights not quite blind enough to miss those villagers, and yeah, that's just not something you can afford to lose. I mean, the faster Berber villagers are nice. Lets them run for the hills.
There is a counterattack from LaN though coming in, sending all the Knights to the left side now with +2 defense. So Dragonstar is also going to suffer from a lot of villagers lost here.
But Dragonstar is on 3 TCs, which means he can at least replenish lost villagers, and because he's, going for archers, he's got +2 attack, he's got ballistics, so in terms of just defending against units under town centers, he's going to be much better equipped, although still that is indeed a lot of Knights.
Spring is down to 23 vills. Capoch is almost, like, at this pace, Capoch will have double the vills as Spring. Now, obviously, LaN is much more...
Oh, but on the other side, Capoch is getting absolutely wrecked in terms of villagers as crossbowmen and knights wander back into his base.
Oh boy, what a mess this game is, what a mess. And I think this is the time when those knights from Spring might actually want to take that TC.
Yeah, we're probably getting to that point. Remember, there is no fletching even in, but looks like they don't really want to do that just yet. Second TC just now coming in here for LaN. But, I mean, Dragonstar still has so many idle villagers. Spring, probably not much better. And yet, if you look at the army count, the gap is closed a ton. There are now 30 knights for LaN. I mean, he's Berbers, right? He can get those guys out really, really easily.
Yeah. As the Capoch numbers continue to grow, though, it's going to be better and better for Dragonstar, obviously. So, like, if we continue at this pace, that actually favors Dragonstar's team. But
the Cav Archer numbers are growing, but they're only at 10 versus 30 knights right now. So they still need way more time before you can really get to those, super-duper scary army numbers of Cav Archers. Another 5 or 6 vills go down, knights are just going to run away. And on the other side, looks like another raid from Capoch and Spring, as they are just busy. They're already battered and bloody, and they're just, like, taking knives and stabbing each other as they're both half dead.
Oh, yeah. This actually starts to remind me of that Red Bull World, I think it was RBW 1 or 2 qualifiers, where Capoch played a crazy Atacama game versus MBL. That was the same thing, like mutual annihilation, sort of.
Yeah, well, I mean, if we take stock of the game right now, the armies of Spring and Dragonstar are superior, but they're now down in villagers.
Yeah, in fact, Los Marginados takes over in villager count because Dragonstar has been losing a lot. He's down to 44, and Spring is still at the majestic 27.
And dropping. Oh man, this is quite a game.
Definitely. LaN and Capoch don't want to give up on this one, and look at the score. It's dead even.
I mean, this is anyone's game right now. The population count is still a little bit in favor of Dragonstar and Spring, but more knights running by, and on top of just having villagers killed, Dragonstar is just losing so many vills, getting them idle, and not able to really produce as many Cav Archers as he needs to really get to those numbers where you can scare knights.
Yeah, I feel like those Cav Archers could be better used right now as raiding units, because they can't really take a straight-up fight, but they haven't been pushing the base of Capoch and LaN for quite a while, so this is the reason why that villager difference is now in the favor of LaN and Capoch. They have been just chilling, and you see that LaN was able to take over Dragonstar in vill count.
Indeed, that's the case, but this is going to be a nice little fight as Spring and Dragonstar are able to clean up LaN's knights over there. Oh man, and the Knights running in on the other side as well. Thank you for the 30 months there, Zero Star Song. Well, hello to you. But, oh man, this game,
What is this
69
even?
bills for Dark Empire.
Now there's a lot of Knights here from LaN, by the way. And the Teuton Knights just struggle so much at chasing those down.
So slow, man.
Oh man. Don't tell me that this is a comeback from Capoch+LaN, because it kind of feels like it right now. Spring is Omega dead, and now LaN is sort of taking over compared to Dragonstar. He might even need to consider adding just 4 camels, because the Capoch numbers aren't that great.
I totally agree, and they don't have good defense upgrades, as they don't even have bloodlines, no like +1 armor or anything like that. And the villager discrepancy is massive enough, especially when it comes to idle time. And oh no, all of these crossbowmen are going to get caught out by some knights and camels, and that's going to be another huge blow to Dragonstars. They're going to actually be falling further and further behind as they're struggling to just get out of their bases right now. They were doing so well when they were being aggressive, but as soon as they're forced to be put on the defensive, they're just kind of falling apart.
Yeah, and Spring soon will have nothing. Like, he can barely produce knights now, and it very much seems like Capoch just wants to grind down his numbers, knowing that Spring is at 22 vills. It's not like Capoch has great villager count, it is 38 in a 32 minutes long Empire Wars game, but it's still better than the non-existent eco of Spring.
Well, like, the thing is, Spring's army is still way better than Capoch's, but Capoch is just never letting Spring take a good fight, because they're just knights running around absolutely everywhere. And we're not able to see Dragonstar and Spring just go across the map at this point.
We're also seeing why Cav Archers are sort of hard to play on such open maps. You can send in a couple of Knights in the raid. Like, Knights can play sort of an individual game, whereas for Cav Archers you need to keep them in one big group, otherwise they can't take good fights.
At least not against the Knights themselves, but the army is still a bit better for Dragonstar and Spring. They just need to be able to use it. They need to cross to the other side of the map, man.
Yeah, and ASAP, because now it's almost double the villagers for Los Marginados.
Yeah, like, they need to go right now, because their armies are still pretty good. The defenses are still just as bad for LaN and Capoch, but... And then, like, look, hey, it looks like that's what they're going to try and do. It just might be a little too far gone at this point.
Yeah, I feel like if we look at the overall villager KD now, Dragonstar killed 57 vills, lost 54, so that's even, but Spring 23-49, that's what matters a lot. So now Dragonstar and Spring no longer have economies, and at this point, LaN can just send in those cheap Berber Knights, and he's just doing such a good job raiding on multiple fronts.
Oh yeah, this is actually pretty GG looking right now. The armies are now in favor of Los Marginados. And again, I'd just like to point out that Spring never got any eco upgrades.
Yeah.
To be fair, Capoch didn't either, but it's more funny to point it out for Spring.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that eco upgrades would help that much for Spring, since he barely has any villagers working anyways. But, as we said, now it's just a matter of time. Dragonstar calls the GG, and what looked like could be an upset turned into an insanely good series so far. We're going to a decider game here.
Yeah, wow, 56% eco efficiency for Dark Empire. That's bad. And this has definitely been the most exciting game in the set, as both teams have just been completely smashing each other in the face. But LaN ultimately was the one who got to the big eco and the big army, kept his opponents on the back foot, and Berbers are just an incredibly well-suited civ to this situation. And he was able to play that macro game as well as he needed to. Like, again, that's like a matter of individual skill, just being able to survive and make those counterattacks happen.
Exactly. Capoch is a big survivor. He often does this. Like, the aforementioned Atacama game, for example, was like that as well. And really, I think the big thing was that they never really pushed LaN that much. LaN lost a couple of deals here and there, but Spring lost villagers consistently, and as Spring got set back more and more, Capoch was able to more or less stabilize, and then sort of LaN just won almost a 1v1 versus Dragonstar there.
Well, I mean, the Knights are going to scale so much more quickly than our Cav Archers. And he definitely made full use of that, just like you were saying, attacking with small groups of Knights, killing eco left and right. There just weren't even enough villagers to be under the town centers to, you know, kill the Knights at that point. And Well, that is going to be bringing us to a decider game number 5. Wow.
Exactly. Each team has 3 civilizations left, so one of the civs won't get used. Kawasan we are going for, which is an interesting map because we have seen open maps, we've seen closed maps. We haven't really seen these sort of hybrid maps, but the standard hybrid map, which is not considered super open like Cape of Storms.
Yeah, I mean, Kawasan is very much dominated by more Castle Age play than Feudal Age play in general. Just because getting control of the middle so powerful, you can get those relics if you're a good relic civ, and use that hill to just push your opponents from whichever direction. And again, it's like another hybrid map that where the pawns are super tiny, so water play is not super important.
All right, let's jump into the final game over here. Let's not make people wait. And if I'm not mistaken, there is 2 parts for this one, so there was a drop in the set. Something that the viewers want to be aware of. So in case they see what seems to be a GG, it might not be. There is gonna be a drop in the set. All right, I'm paused at 6 seconds, so whenever you're ready, let's get going.
All right, I'm ready too.
All right, let's do 3, 2, 1, and go. So welcome to Kawasan over here. We're gonna have Spring as Slavs in yellow, and on the other side, Dragonstar as Koreans in red. Whereas for Capoch's team, Los Marginados, it's Byzantines in green for Capoch and blue for LaN as Indians. Which of these 2 civs you prefer?
You mean 4 civs?
No, which of these, like, which team do you think has the better 2 civs?
Oh, you mean the better duo for Empire Wars?
Yeah.
The 2, because there are 2 civs? Or something? I kind of like Indians and Byzantines a little bit more. This feels like a map where getting to a quick Imperial Age can be very strong. The faster firing fire ships are going to be excellent in like low numbers and tiny pawns. And when it comes to like Indians going for camels, Slavs going for knights, Slavs are also going to be wanting to make some sort of fishing ship, so it sort of lessens the efficacy of the Slav farm bonus if you're just using part of your eco on fish.
Exactly, and Spring is opening with a dock over here. He's the only player so far with a dock. In fact, he actually delayed his stable for this one. Scouts are coming in from both LaN and Spring over here. Obviously, LaN is going to benefit from the extra pierce armor of Indian scouts as well in Castle. As, oh boy though, there is Dragonstar with the archers, and some PTSD from the previous games might happen here for LaN.
Like, this is exactly how Leary plays, but that was a really pretty quick wall. Not going to really lose anything here. Just some injured villagers. Well, he shouldn't lose anything. The villager seems to have a death wish.
Okay. He was just baiting that archer, let's say that. And speaking of that Leary stop play, there's Capoch with the same idea. You saw that in the first game, Capoch was massing archers back at home. He changed his approach, and now he's actually doing what you said should be the play with the archer civilization. 2 spears, 2 archers, send them forward and start to do damage, and you see Spring's economy definitely being hurt by this one.
Oh yeah, 20 villagers that are not necessarily idle, but extremely inefficient. They're trying to rush down archers with fletching, which is never a particularly great sign. And scouts coming in from LaN as well. It's going to just... more fun for Spring to deal with.
Yeah, these scouts are going to be more than happy now, as quite a few villagers go down from Spring over here. He delayed his stable to go for the dock, and that's part of the reason why he still has a good economy. In fact, he's got the best economy in the game. But holding this one off is going to be extremely painful.
Well, what is our red player Dragonstar up to? He's now adding in another range. He is docking one of the pawns, as is Capoch right now. But really doesn't seem like Dragonstar has been getting a lot done. Even some scouts going to intercept some straggler archers.
Exactly. Dragonstar looks like he wants to fast castle here. And with the Koreans, he would get the +2 defense immediately as well. So those archers would be pretty powerful over there, as he would beat everybody else to Castle Age by a pretty considerable margin.
Well, we do have tons of farms now coming in here for Spring. Already the case for LaN. And when it comes to Castle Age times, yeah, Dragonstar is going to be the fastest up, but I mean, Capoch is going to be pretty close behind him, so I don't think it's going to be that massive of a difference. And especially when you compare the map control, it seems like it's looking pretty good here for Los Marginados.
And LaN is going very heavy on scouts. Like, that many scouts with +1 defense and Bloodlines, if they run into Spring's eco, Spring is just going to die. So, 3 scouts versus 8, and the upgrades will be way better for LaN there as well.
We have a market coming in for Spring. I don't know if he's just going to try and market his way to the Castle Age, but that would be a little while before that could pay off. And, well, as you're saying, some scouts could just run in and ruin his day. Even some archers coming in from Capoch. Yeah, that's going to be pretty rough here for Spring.
Yeah, Spring needs some walls here, but there is some archer support as well from Capoch, so that would be a nightmare. And I kind of feel like these would just run past the TC straight to the wood line, and Spring has to run for his life. It very much seems like Dragonstar will be forced to carry once again here.
Well, unfortunately for him, he's forced to carry, but he's lost so many archers in trying to go for like these little aggressive plays that his own archer numbers are quite low. Like, yeah, he's faster up to Castle Age compared to Capoch by like a minute, but his own crossbow timing isn't going to be that scary, and the scouts could even just run back and deal with crossbows potentially. Yeah,
it looks like Dragonstar will send in the soon-to-be crossbows to take this fight. That honestly might be the best choice here, because the opponents are fully walled, and you kind of need to save Spring here.
Very much so, but still, Spring able to hang in there in part due to the fishing eco, and Slav farms are not half bad either. But crossbow Bodkin on the way. It's still just a... Well, actually, the military numbers are ostensibly similar, but it just feels like it's a lot scarier for Los Marginados, as they should be taking a pretty decent fight right here.
Yeah, that is before the archers aren't shooting, or at least they weren't shooting for some time. Now they will clean this up, but it comes at pretty decent casualties, and you see that Spring is set back a little bit, but he's got Slavic farming, and he has had fishing eco for a while. Capoch just recently added fishing eco, and there is no fish for LaN, and oh boy, there is some crossbows coming in from Dragonstar to hit LaN's eco now. He could definitely stretch the attention of LaN out now.
I only see a couple crossbowmen from Dragonstar going to LaN.
Yeah, there seems to be just a few, but with the walls up for LaN, he's gonna be fine. And there's gonna be another defensive tower here for LaN, so he's really scared about those archers. But they might be going to Capoch. Capoch also made a defensive tower here on the gold. So, at this point... Oh, and there's a sneaky vill on the right side by Capoch. It's a very, very sneaky vill, but he gets intercepted.
Been discovered.
Yeah, he
probably the dock vill.
Yeah, that has to be a dock vill for the pond of Spring. He probably wanted to hide a dock on the right side of the pond.
Well, nice catch there for Spring and Dragonstar, but the biggest issue right now is going to be that there's around a 2-minute different Castle Age time between LaN and Spring. Dragonstar coming in with some crossbowmen. They do have the ballistics tech.
But Capoch is also in with crossbowmen, so just as much as Capoch has idle gold miners, Spring has idols as well, but those crossbows are camping the bottom of Spring's tower.
Whereas Capoch being fully walled means that the crossbowmen can't do the same thing, and of Dragonstar cannot do the same thing, and Capoch is more or less fine for the time being. Like, every second that goes by where he's not like actively dying and he's still doing a ton of damage on the other side is going to be really good.
Exactly. Slight eco lead here for Dark Empire, though, as some camos will hit the field. This is where things could get interesting, because you don't really have the knights to just steamroll those archers. So if Dragonstar can keep his crossbow numbers high, then this can still work.
Very much so. There is ballistics in for both players, although, of course, the one extra defense upgrade in favor of Dragonstar, and it's a really messy eco for Capoch. I mean, it's not like he's really thriving. He's only on 1 town center to the soon-to-be 3 of Dragonstar, although he does have a few fishing ships, which is nice. And, yeah, as you're saying, camels, they want to be focusing down the Cav player, but the Cav player is already in a really bad spot, so you need to deal with the Archer player. And that's going to be just really, really rough.
Yeah, especially because Koreans will obviously have the advantage over Byzantines here, as the Camos actually find a couple of crossbows here to pick off in the middle. I think Dragonstar would have been better off running for the berries here and just trying to get a nice choke point.
Yeah, that probably would have been better. Thank you, Graf Monat, for the 4 months.
And
With more subs, as we have... Oh yeah, I forgot this map has, like, it has camels and fruit bushes and snowy pine trees. Its geography makes no sense whatsoever.
yeah, in some versions or some generations, there's even camels. And Kawasan is supposed to be a Japan-themed map.
Yeah, there are camels on this one, just to the left of Dragonstar's forward town center.
Oh yeah, there's a couple of camels. Looks like a couple more crossbows arrive here for Dragonstar, and Dragonstar's been slaying villagers of Capoch like there is no tomorrow. 7 villagers already lost by Capoch. Spring only lost 5 here.
Yes, but the crossbowmen that are forward at the base of Capoch are going to get wrecked by the crossbowmen and camels. And what's really important for Dragonstar is that he just keeps on churning out archers. He needs to utilize the fact that he is the strongest, in the strongest individual position in this game. But how are you going to, make use of that to make damage happen when LaN is just so well defended at home? It means you kind of have to go for Capoch, but then you're just playing into the, natural defensive strength of both Byzantines and the Archer Civ player.
Exactly. You can't just go with the Knights and raid the Indian player because a couple of camels will clean that up. But if you just trade archers with Capoch, that's not good, because if there is a limited amount of archers on the field, then the camels will just eat the Knights.
Yeah, certainly. I also like how LaN is prioritizing iron casting. Just camels having that lower base attack means that getting iron casting is going to help a lot versus the crossbowmen. A big fight going to be happening right here. The military numbers are pretty even, but I mean, we're looking at camels versus knights, and that is kind of painful as Dark Empire's kind of on the run right now.
Yeah, they are. Although they took down more units, I think, so the value was definitely better there. Now it's the interesting situation because those crossbow numbers start to drop for Dragonstar. Is this a good enough fight for them? I don't think so.
Oh, I think that it's a little bit better for Los Marginados, and it seems like the Knights are more or less just going to kill each other, but when the dust settles, the important thing is that the crossbow numbers of Capoch are going to be higher here than the crossbow numbers of Dragonstar. Also, I believe it's Thumb Ring v no Thumb Ring, so that's going to be really helpful in terms of DPS, but more crossbowmen reinforcements coming in. A little bit of dancing here with the camels. Dancing camel. Feels good, man.
Look at how Dragonstar's focusing down the archers, something that Capoch didn't start with, and that's going to help quite immensely over here. It's just going to be an even trade of armies. That may actually help Dragonstar, because Dragonstar is the archer player with a huge amount of vills. So...
Oh yeah, I mean, he's in a great spot. He's
look at that castle drop. Holy potatoes. Now that is a game-changing style approach here for Dragonstar. It might go up, because the thing is that if LaN doesn't help on this side, then the Knights of Spring will just steamroll Capoch, and that castle is right on the primary gold of LaN as well.
There is a lot of back gold, though. There's a ton of back gold that LaN can take, so it's not going to be a big deal in terms of gold income, but what the castle does provide is a very strong position from which to push into the heart of LaN's economy, so that's going to be super good. Second TC just now coming in for Capoch. Notably, Spring is still only on the 1, so he's just kind of stuck with a low eco game for the time being.
Low eco legends, you say?
Something like that.
There is not enough camels here, though, for LaN, and this might be the opportunity here for Dragonstar and Spring. Because guess what? Now they're pushing Capoch back, and there is the castle going up as well for Dragonstar.
Yeah, and the camels have to be used over here on the base of Capoch, and, well, the army discrepancy is just getting more and more skewed in favor of Dark Empire. Castle goes up. We could see war wagons, although they are a bit weaker to the camels. I just think that more archers and maybe just trying to get a faster Imperial Age would be a bit better. 100 villagers here for our Korean player Dragonstar. Nice that he's able to even get an advantage over Indians who have that, they have an eco bonus. Koreans don't really have much of one. And I think Imperial Age could be the big difference maker in this one.
Exactly, although at this point, Capoch is down to 10 crossbows, and there's a bunch of knights inside his base that will just be very happy to run towards that wood line. Whereas, oh boy, LaN wants a castle up here, but that's multiple guard towers.
Oh boy.
I don't think that's going up, or it's going to turn into a proper doubt castle if the villagers garrison those guard towers.
Villagers need to garrison the northern tower, and the castle's going to go up. I mean, way too many villagers are being sent forward. So the guard towers are honestly going to be kind of a waste. I mean, they get some vill kills.
What is Dragonstar doing?
Yeah, but those are forward vills from Dragonstar. For a second, I thought they were, lands vills, because that would make sense.
No.
No, Dragonstar's just going to drop a castle in his opponent's base.
No.
That's what I would do.
I mean, he has the stone for that. By the way, Capoch managed to quick wall his base, so he didn't lose that many vills. But Imperial Age on the way for Dragonstar over here. He's trying to tower rush the wood lines as much as possible. And that Imp would secure him the chance to take down that castle from LaN as more crossbows march into the base of LaN. I don't feel like there's an option here anymore. LaN has to defend back at home. He's got 6 camels, 6 light cav, and with no camel support, Spring can just push Capoch here with Rams and Knights.
Yeah, really nice aggressive stance from him. He's got monks coming in, he's got siege weapons coming in. It's like it's a 1v1 almost with just those forward castle age buildings. You don't want to stand your crossbowmen underneath town center fire, it's true. But the camel numbers are just going to be looking too low down here in the southwest, like you were saying. And Capoch isn't even close to Imperial Age as Byzantines. There's just going to be no coming back once Dragonstar hits Imperial Age, and credit to Dragonstar, he has just played so incredibly well in this game and this series, really, all series long.
Yeah, Spring had some good games, but really it was Dragonstar who massively exceeded expectations here, and delivered a lot of clutch moments. Like this game, he had to do some carrying here, and he did so. When Spring was set back, he was still able to help out, as we are getting closer and closer to Imperial. Still 26 crossbows available, and it looks like there might even be a switch to war wagons.
Oh yeah, gotta love the war wagons, man. And if the camel numbers are low, the war wagons are just gonna absolutely annihilate everything. They're such a strong unit. And, of course, another one. When it comes to towers, they will be instantly upgraded to keeps. You can even get Upsong if you want for your extra range. But it shouldn't really matter. It might just be an Imp GG.
It's not.
Well, I mean, this is the match point game number 5, so they probably want to keep fighting on. But really, if you look at the positioning, the advantage, it's just absolutely enormous here for Dragonstar and Spring.
Exactly. Dragonstar just needs a couple of traps, and he needs to start trapping down TCs, honestly, to prevent his opponent from getting to Imp. Mangan was popping out from Spring from the Siege Workshop, trying to get some nice shots, but Capoch, nice micro there for him.
I mean, they're trying to push back down here in the south, but now that Bracer is in, Chemistry will be in shortly, Arbalest is in, even +4 defense comes in right away. That makes a huge difference in Archer v Archer fights, and it's really just not a position that we can see Los Marginados come back from.
Yeah, Dragonstar was quite late with the traps, which buys some time for Capoch and LaN, but now they're sort of stuck in Castle Age. They have to make more units because they have to take inefficient fights, but if they make more units than their opponents, they would just never have resources for Imp.
Yeah, they're just kind of in this infinite loop of losing more and more and more, and they'd have to just get some disproportionately good fights in, but when you're that heavily out-teched, and you're also outnumbered, they're also just in a worse position tactically, it's going to be really difficult to do that. Raiding is maybe one way you can get back into it as LaN tries to send a single light cav, but it's just not enough.
Yeah, it's not. And those Arbs are very well upgraded because they get the +4 defense for free, so Capoch already getting pushed back, forced to mass migrate over here, as LaN actually finds a way up to Imperial, although now there is gonna be a tower rush coming towards him. He actually uses the appropriate TC for imping now.
Yes, that's very much the correct town center. Well, town center goes down for our green player Capoch. He is nowhere near Imperial Age, still as Byzantines, and he's got less than half the vills of his counterpart, Dragonstar. Although this is a pretty nice camel and light cav raid, it's gonna get something done.
Yeah, that's a pretty decent raid there from LaN, indeed. And Dragonstar doesn't really have the mobility. He has to be careful not to lose everything here, because the villager discrepancy isn't that huge.
Well, it's because Spring is still only on one town center. I mean, he's got tons of farms. Some of them are kind of not the greatest, but he still has them.
DC's going down over here. Luckily for LaN, I think Imp is going to hit here. but on the other side, I kind of feel like this is gonna be LaN having to carry this one entirely. He has gotten used to that in the previous game, though.
Yeah. LaN, one of those players, he's kind of inconsistent, but when he's playing well, I honestly think he can compete with like the top 5 players if he's playing at like his highest level. He's really, really fun to watch when he's playing well. And he's doing, the best he can at this point. I just feel like it's just a little too far gone.
Yeah. Capoch is about to die here. Like, he's getting steamrolled by Manganos, Orbs. And if you look at the base of LaN here, LaN's got a lot of light cav, though. So if there is any way back, that's probably the hero style. Hussar and just raid and raid and raid.
Yeah, that's going to be probably your only hope. He actually has a lot of gold in the bank, so he can get all the upgrades he ever wants for them. But that also means that you can easily just switch into some halberdiers. If you're Dragonstar, you still have 118 villagers. You can afford to do that. Spring is still nowhere near Imperial Age, but he can just keep on making knights, and without even getting that last armor upgrade, the knights are going to be doing a little bit better. And I mean, that's an okay fight.
The Arbalest now from Dragonstar hitting the back of LaN's eco, so LaN's really going to be stretched out now, as his base is sort of devastated. I think this is the time for Dragonstar for full Stonewalls, because the only way the opponent gets back into this game is to raid his way back.
And that's certainly what he's trying to do. But, okay, now we have the Halb switch that's going to come in. It's exactly what you need. He just has some Arbs at home for the time being to help defend, and that's going to be totally fine until he gets his Halb numbers up and running. But still, the light cav are going to be pretty annoying. Heavy camel on the way, but oh no, now a bunch of knights are running into the economy of LaN, and that's just going to be really rough for him.
Yeah, at this point, Spring is probably more than happy to just trade knights to the villagers, because if LaN takes a significant beating to his economy, there is no hope for recovery for Los Marginados.
Capoch is just trying to like build an economy at the very edge of the map. He does have a castle all the way back there. Okay, this is probably the drop right here.
Yeah, that's the drop. So we're gonna have to jump back in. That also means that the stats will be nullified.
Yeah.
So
well, we can use the in-game stats, I think.
Potentially, yes. Hold on for a moment while I find...
I'm at 35 minutes in part 2.
35 minutes in part 2. Alright. So let's jump back in. 35 minutes. Okay, 3, 2, 1, and go. Alright, so welcome back, everybody. As we were discussing, this is basically the final, potentially 2 minutes of this game. Now it's double the villagers for Dark Empire.
I mean, not even. Like, if there was a drop at this point, I would have just called GG, man. It's so over.
Yeah, they probably don't want to give up, hoping to have a recovery like they had in the previous game, but that's not gonna happen. We're looking at 137 population versus 316. That is just not happening here. And
yeah, we're looking at almost triple.
Now, this is a surprise, I would say. It very much seems like as Capoch's last remaining crossbows hit Spring's base, but that's gonna be a cleanup for Knights. And LaN has nowhere to go, Capoch has nowhere to go. And while Spring's economy isn't really great either, and it's weird that he's still on 1 TC, at this point it's Dragonstar just snowballing the game and pretty much cornering the opponent completely. 2-0
Not only is
start.
Spring only on 1 TC, but he's literally never mined stone in this game.
Yeah.
He's still at 75, because, you know, he started with 200 and he built the 1 tower.
Yeah. Spring just goes full Knights over here to support. And it might be the good decision, honestly, because they were constantly able to overwhelm their opponents with numbers. Although he could easily add the TC now, I think. But this series started 2-0, seemed like a massive upset. Then LaN and Capoch kind of felt like they finally found a way back. And then Spring and Dragonstar come in here for the kill in the final one. As it very much seems like, I mean, LaN is at 24 villagers, less than 100 population. This game is over.
And, you know, in the broad scope of things, yes, the series turned out to be really close, but at the end of the day, we're having Spring and Dragonstar, 2 players that probably wouldn't even be considered in top 30 normally, taking out LaN and Capoch, both who are, you know, clearly top 30, if not pushing top 20.
Exactly.
And that this is a massive upset.
And the interesting thing is that many of the maps, in fact, if you think about what maps Dragonstar and Spring won on, Arabia and Kawasan, these are the standard maps. It's not like they're beating them on Forest Pond based on, like, let's say, better preparation. They're beating them on standard maps where the meta is clearly defined and they're just outplaying them.
Well, I mean, they're beating them on preparation, but it's just preparation in terms of having good civs, having good strategies, and just, I think, more than anything else, what's really impressed me is just how they coordinate fights. They do such a good job. It's like they've been playing together for years, even though that's not really the case, at least as far as I know. And there's the GG called, and wow, this is like the best I have ever seen, like Dragonstar play, especially. Like,
Yeah,
easily the best I've ever seen.
absolutely. If you just look at the two players, like, let's say if it's Hidden Cup 2v2 Empire Wars, you wouldn't have thought that this is Spring and Dragonstar, because they had some down moments.
You know it's Spring. You know it's Spring.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
having 5 TCs now.
Yeah, Dragonstar was sending him resources. The Dragonstar's probably like, hey, dude, I destroyed Capoch and Capoch is 6,000 score. You're 8,000. How many TCs you have? And Spring is like, 1? Okay, I'm gonna sling you 1,000 stones so you now can make 10 TCs.
Lol. And yeah, the in-game stats are going to work just fine if you switch over to that. But yeah, Dragonstar obviously the best KD, 75, highest military for him. Spring even able to get 59, which is pretty darn impressive. And just having that better economy throughout the game, just ahead in almost every aspect.
Yeah, I think the key thing here was something that is always important for these up-and-coming players is consistency. And Dragonstar had a very consistent 5 games over here. So he had some slips, I would say, but it's not like in any of these games he played awfully bad or he made enormous mistakes. As Spring and Dragonstar qualify, talk about an upset.
Well, I am not upset to see the upset, because it's always great to see new blood, even though both players have been around forever. But you know what I mean. Shaking things up in the top level AoE 2 scene.
Exactly. Congrats to Spring and Dragonstar, because this was a massive feat from them. On the other hand, for LaN and Capoch, it's not like they played badly. Maybe small things didn't go their way, and it very much seems like Dragonstar and the Spring are able to surprise them over here.
Yep. And I think that just came down to preparation and coordination. It just felt like the coordination between LaN and Capoch wasn't quite where it needed to be.